Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today how to affect change with your government. And essentially what we're talking about is we have a petition to Governor of California to the Governor of California to move new drivers from the learner's phase into the provisional phase. And we need tens of thousands of signatures on that to affect change in the government, the California government, to be able to do that. So stick around. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi there, Smart Drivers. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about how to affect change. We think that we don't have any ability to move our governments on certain topics, but that is simply not true. You have the power of writing them emails, contacting them via phone, on social media, and if you are talking to the right people, they will listen to what you're saying. And I am going to tell you a story about that. We have tremendous news that the bill in North Carolina was passed, that learner drivers are being moved to the provisional phase of their license, and they have to meet the prerequisites in that state to be able to do that. They can't just move into the provisional license phase of the GDL in the state of North Carolina. The reason I'm excited about this is because North Carolina is which state here? Just let me have a look here. And North Carolina is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. North Carolina is number 10 on the list of U.S. states by population. So that's really good. So they've done that. Wisconsin has done that. Now there's 2 states, and if we can show that that other states have already done this to try and deal with their backlog, then we have better chance to be able to get California to do that as well. California, the reason I picked California is because it's the most populated state in the U.S. Reddy says, can outsiders to CA affect change in California? Yes, you can. You can get in touch with the congressman, the Senate, the senator, the commissioner of the Department of Motor Vehicles, and the governor. If you write emails to those, all of this helps and starts to begin to build change. And you know, I can do this. I can get the petition going, but I need you, all of the smart drivers here on the channel, to put this out on your social media platforms as well, whether that's Instagram or whether that's Facebook. But we need to get this going, and we need tens of thousands of signatures on the petition to be able to move this forward and begin to get heard within government. And as well, we can get this onto the news platforms as well and get attention there, and they can begin to start doing interviews, and this will help all of this. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to talk about your driver's test, which driver's test centers have been opening up. Look down in the description there if you're watching on the replay or you're watching now, and you can go to the list that I've started over at the Smart Drive Test website, and you can figure out what's going on in your state. Kentucky is beginning to open up at the end of the week, or the end of the month here into July. They're going to start booking on-road driver's tests. The state of California, actually tomorrow, is beginning to book on-road driver's tests. But how long it's going to take them to work through that backlog, it is an incredible backlog. And I'll, as well, the state of California, or not the state of California, sorry, the state of Texas, in news reports said that it has 500,000 expired licenses in the backlog owing to the shutdown. So they have to do some work there as well in the state of Texas. And you can be well assured that they're not the only ones facing this backlog of trying to deal with driver's licenses, dealing with expired driver's licenses, and all of the other administrative work that these government agencies do. So we need to we need to start affecting change. We tell them what we need and get new drivers driving on the roadway. Okay, so Lightning's here from South Africa. That's awesome. Krista, hey, from California, your videos help me so much. Awesome, so glad that we could help you out there. Albert, you are so smart with your videos. It helped me too much. Excellent. Thank you so much, Albert. That's really great and keeps me going here in what we're doing. Hi Rick, could you also talk about foreign drivers here in Canada who have G1 for more than a year and was waiting to get G2, but now the dates keep extending. It is affecting my job prospects. Yes, and I hear you, Bag, on what's going on there. Really sorry to hear that this is affecting your ability to get a job. And this is what we're talking about. If new drivers are not being moved from the learner's phase into the probationary stage where they can drive, this eventually, within the next few months, is going to have a negative impact on our economy because these new drivers cannot get to their work, cannot get to school, cannot get to recreational activities and whatnot. Transportation is a fundamental component of a healthy economy, and we need to get new drivers who have been postponed because of COVID-19 shutdowns. We need to get them going, and there's a lot of states that are only now beginning to reopen. As I said, California, the state of California, the state of Kentucky, other states have all been closed down and are only beginning to open up now. So we need to put some some political pressure on the people who can make decisions and affect change. And the province of Ontario, excuse me, the province of Ontario here in Canada is the same thing. They don't know when they're going to open up. British Columbia, where I live, is the same. ICBC has only started doing commercial tests. They haven't started doing passenger vehicle tests. New York, the state of New York, is the same. They've only been doing commercial tests. They're not doing passenger vehicle tests at this juncture. So sign the petition, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to knock over the biggest domino first. And once I get that first domino over, then it's going to be easier to bring the other states and the other provinces on board. And for those of you living in Ontario, I do have that in the hopper. I'm going to try and get that up today, and then we can do that as well. We can sign that petition and move on the Minister of Transportation and Premier Ford there in Ontario and get them to do the same thing, moving drivers from the G1 license into the G2 license, so long as they meet requisites. Okay, we're proposing oversight as well. This is not just carte blanche moving them there. So look down in the description there, click the link, sign the petition, and as well leave a comment as to why you signed the petition. That'll help as well. And the other thing that will help, put it out on your Facebook page and get everybody ask them personally to sign the petition, and that will really get us the numbers of signatures that we need to be able to affect change and bring about the legislation that will move new drivers to the provisional stage of their license and get them on the road. Okay, so I just want to tell you a story here, and then I'll talk about new Canadians working on their driver's license and how that works and how we can get you going here. So what I want to tell you, so in 2002 I immigrated to Australia, and what I needed to do was, if you know anything about immigration, it's you get a permanent residency first, and then after you're a permanent resident for a certain length of time, usually it's 4 or 5 years, then you can apply to become a citizen of that country. And I was married to an Australian, and that's why I moved to that city. So bear with me, this is about immigration, but it's the process of affecting government to bring about change isn't any different in immigration than it is in transportation and driver's licenses. And so what happened is that on the form, after I submitted the initial application, which consisted of just about everything down to my underwear size, passports, criminal searches, all of the rest of the information submitted to the immigration department. One of the things they were very clear about on the form was that you couldn't contact anybody in Australian immigration. This was back in the days when Australian immigration was something else. I'm just going to restart my browser here. There might be a blip on the radar here because I don't have any comments coming through, so I just want to make sure that that is in fact happening, because I know there's other people here, so I just restarted it. All right, and we're back. Frederick, how are you, my friend? Okay, so we're talking about bureaucracy, we're talking about government agencies, and we're talking about how to affect change. So what happened in Australia was I was going to university. I was doing my graduate degree at the time. A year went by, more than a year. It was 18 months. And, I didn't know who to contact. I didn't know what to do in terms of trying to move this forward and trying to expedite permanent residency, because while I was going to university, uh, I was considered a foreign student, and as a foreign student, you're paying 3 times what the tuition fee is. So it was like $4,000 every couple of months uh, to go to university until I got my permanent residency. And so I was talking about this one day about, the lack of movement on my application for permanent residency in immigration. And one of the administrative staff at the University of Melbourne said to me, they said, listen, we know Lindsay Tanner, who's the opposition member in Parliament. And I said, okay. And they said, well, we'll give him a call and we'll see what we can do. Sure enough, the opposition member, Lindsay Tanner, I got a call from him 2 days later, and what had happened is that my application had sat on somebody's desk who worked part-time for the immigration department, and nothing had been done. Nothing had been done. It basically sat there and did nothing. Within a week, I had the next part of the application for my immigration. And the next bit of this that happened is that as part of my immigration approval for me to become a permanent resident in Australia, I had to have a criminal check from Canada. And they said that a criminal check had to be done by the RCMP, our national police force. Well, initially when I applied for my immigration, I simply went to the local police department in London, Ontario, Canada, and I got a criminal check done. And I submitted that with my original application for the immigration department, and there hadn't been any problem with that. So I did the same thing. I was trying to expedite getting permanent residency, so I called my mom in Canada. I said to her, listen, can you go down to the London Police Department and get me a criminal search, which is what she did. I got it, I submitted it. They denied my application for permanent residency because I had to have one from the National Police Force. Well, now I was kind of on board with how all of this worked with government agencies. And basically what I did was I wrote letters to the Premier of the state of Victoria, the Immigration Minister, the Prime Minister of Australia, and a couple of other people as well, anybody that I could start to affect change. What happened was within 10 days, I got the letter back saying from the immigration department saying that on a provisional basis they would accept the criminal search from the London Police Force, but when I got the one from the RCMP, our National Police Force, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, that I was to send that on and they would accept it. So my permanent residency went forward, and within a couple of months I was a permanent resident of Australia, and now I didn't have to pay those exorbitant fees to go to university. So if you're ever in a place where you need to affect change and bring about change with governments, this is what you need to do. This is what we need to do. We need to bring forward this petition. You need to contact the congressman, your senator, the governor in your state, and tell them that you want this to happen and how this can happen, because they want you to propose solutions as well, right? They're not just going to do it because you want it done. You have to give them reasoning, and you have to give solutions to the problem. So this is what we're trying to do here with drivers. So a number of people here. Frederick here, first time here. That's awesome. Britt Falls, I'm from Arkansas, but we are signed up online to make appointments. We only get one chance for the driver's license test. Nice if we could get one more day. Yeah, Britt, I hear you on that. Katie, thank you for letting me know about the driver's license, because I wasn't informed of that information when I called and asked some questions. And Anil, how are you? From India. Loya, how are you? Novels, what is the situation? Please. Okay. So, it's very piecemeal in the United States about who's opening, who's doing closed circuit tests and those types of things. And look down in the description. I do have a list over at the Smart Drive Test website about that, about what's happening in your states and whatnot. And I will update that today with the state of Kentucky opening up here in July, and the state of California tomorrow starting to book on-road tests. So that's what's happening there. And Lightning, how are you, my friend? Tuning in from South Africa. So if you have any questions, let me know down in the description. If you're watching on the replay, let me know about that as well. What's happening in your state, what success you're having in booking your driver's test, how long you have to wait. I know that there in the state of, or not the state, the province of Ontario, Canada, it's pretty terrible. I mean, some of these drivers are talking about having to go 2 hours away, and they can only book a road test for like September or December, so they're waiting a very long time. And it'll be interesting with the reopening of California, the state of California, the U.S. tomorrow, what is going to happen there and how long drivers are going to have to wait. My information at this juncture is the state of California is doing regular driver's tests, on-road driver's tests. They're going to put a cover on the seat. You have to wear a mask. There obviously will be screening questions for COVID to do the driver's test, but it is an on-road driver's test in the state of California. It's not a closed circuit test as they're doing in other places. So know that. Laquia, how are you, my friend? And so if you're watching now, you're watching on the replay, let me know what's going on. Be sure to sign our petition, and if you do sign the petition, please leave a comment and share it on your Facebook page, because we need to have a groundswell of people here doing this. And as I said in the introduction, both North Carolina and Wisconsin have now done this. They've moved new drivers, learner drivers, to the provisional phase of their license, so long as they meet the prerequisites. And the prerequisites for, generally speaking, in those states is that you have to have 50-60 hours of driving, and as well you have to do some driver training, depending on what that is for the state requirements, and as well you have to have a clean record so you can be moved into the provisional stage of your license. And my friend Jonathan is here from New York. Hello. 325. I'm anxious for Ontario to let us know how long the grace period for expiring licenses will be once full G road tests are back after September 8th. Is a private business, so who knows? Yes, and that's going to be tough going there, 325. I know there's a lot of, you're not really sure what's going on in Ontario. And the other news that came out of California yesterday was that there's a resurgence of the number of hospital visits for COVID-19. So there is a real possibility that we could see further, reclosures in the face of the second wave of COVID-19. So we're really hoping that this doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it's even more reason that we need to move drivers from the learner's phase into the provisional phase of their license. And for those of you, excuse me, in the province of Ontario, from G1 to G2 license. Reddy, thank you for doing this. Wrote to the MTO Ontario regarding drive tests reopening, and I think they played a part in reopening. So I think we can do something about the driving test too. Absolutely ready. If we have enough people, we can definitely do something about this for sure. Don't know what that is, Oscar. You may have to rephrase that question for me. Laquia, hey, you said my name right. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad I did get it right. Jonathan, I hope that the people who got their licenses without taking a road test will continue practicing. Yeah, Jonathan, and that's an excellent point. And this is going to be the objective to this. People are going to object to moving new drivers from the learner's phase into the probationary stage because they're at danger. And yes, new drivers, young drivers are at the highest risk. This is the number one reason why young people are killed, is because of traffic crashes. However, at one and the same time, this is the only dangerous activity that young people do for the most part. Most of them are not working in factories and other industrial areas or doing construction and whatnot. Most of them are still going to school. Most of them live at home with their parents. So they're not doing any other dangerous activity. So they are going to be safer. I mean, most of the information that driving instructors are using to say, oh, young people are at a high risk of being involved in a crash and being killed, most of that information is coming from the 1980s, because, driving instructors and the driver education curriculum, for the most part, is old. Many driving schools are still teaching defensive driving from the Smith Space Cushion System. Well, that was founded in the 1940s. We're still using that. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that we need to move driver education forward. And with new drivers who are moving into the probationary stage, they're much, much safer. Roads are better. Cars are safer. And education, distracted driving, awareness programs, social movements, all of this is available to young people. And I don't know any young person who couldn't know that driving a vehicle is dangerous if you're distracted driving and looking at your phone. I mean, we have so many public awareness programs now, and we have this channel and many other really great driving education channels out there that are putting information out there for new people. So they have access to the information. They have access to better vehicles, better roads. So yes, they are at risk, but any activity that they do during the day, they're going to be at risk. But if we put oversight in place, and this is what I'm saying, that we're not just going to send them out there and give them a provisional license. It's with oversight. So within 1 month, what we're proposing is that they go to a local driving school and they have to do a 10 to 15 minute evaluation, and then in 1 year they have to do another evaluation, and as well they have to keep their driving record clean. If they get caught for speeding or turning contrary to a sign or any other infraction on their driving license, they're going to be put back to the learner's phase, and they will have to wait in the queue to get a license test or driver's test at their local DMV. So it's going to work. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And we have some oversight in place. We're not just moving them giving them a driver's license sort of carte blanche, right? We do have oversight. Lightning, to the person who disliked this video already just to troll, you and I are going to have a fight outside. Farron, I love you. I love you so much. There we go. Excellent. Jonathan, with the resurgence of COVID-19 in other states, do you think more and more states will allow teens and novice drivers to move them to get their license without taking a driver's test? Now, Jonathan, I just want to clarify that. It's not that they're not taking a driver's test. Okay, they will have to take a driver's test, because the way that the GDL program works, the graduated driver's licensing program, they still have to take a driver's test for their full license. So it's not that they're not taking a test. We're simply waiving the test at the learner's phase to move into the provisional stage. And as well, there is oversight here. They have to meet the requisites to be able to move into the provisional stage. They have to have the supervised driving time in a log that they keep. And as well, some of these states require them to have driver training. In the state of California, for example, I think they have to have 6 or 10 driver training hours with an actual professional driving instructor. And as well, they have to have a clean record. So they have to meet those requisites. It's not that we're just, governments are moving them into the provisional stage without any oversight. There is oversight. And with our proposal, with the Smart Drive Test petition, we're moving that a step further and bringing on local driving schools to provide oversight at the beginning and at the 1 year anniversary date of their license and being in the provisional stage. And there's no reason we can't do that we can't bring, the governments can't bring local driving schools on side. I mean, in the state of California, they have all kinds of defensive driving courses that people have to take because of driving infractions, and so they work with the DMV. In the state of Texas, which is the second most populated state in the U.S., they allow driving schools to actually administer the test, and the student simply has to go into their local DMV to apply for the driver's license. So there is a lot of oversight, and there is a lot of checks and balances in place for these new drivers to be on the roadways. And as well, sites like mine, Smart Drive Test, MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and SAD, Students Against Drunk Driving, and all of the distracted driving social awareness programs that are out there. These students have access to a lot of information about driving and about the risks of driving. And as well, when they're one other point that I'll make, Jonathan, about when they're in the provisional stage of their driver's license, there's a lot of restrictions on them. They can't, most places, these are the kind of 5 restrictions that they have in the provisional stage of their driver's license. They can't drive between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning because that's considered a dangerous time. They can't use any electronic devices in the vehicle. They have to have 0 blood alcohol in their system. What are the other requirements? They can only have 1 other passenger in the vehicle that's not directly related to them. Number 4, and there's one more that I'm missing. So there's 5 restrictions that I'm missing. In some places, when they're on a provisional license for G2 in Ontario, they can't drive on interstates and highways and those types of things. So in some places, they can't travel on roadways that have a speed limit in excess of 50 miles an hour or 80 kilometers an hour. So, like I said, there's a lot of restrictions. Jaden, how are you? Late because I was busy playing with my nephew. Excellent. Excellent. And Frederick says, so interesting topic, sir. Love it. Excellent. Yes, so we're doing all of that. So look down in the description. If you're watching now, you're watching on the replay, head over, sign the petition. And as well, I'm going to put this afternoon, I'm going to put the petition up on the website. So there'll be more information over there about that as well. And what else am I doing? Oh, yes, and I'm going to get the Ontario petition up as well. And we'll get that in the hopper and get that going as well. But, you know, like I said, I can't do this without your help. I need your help. Share this around as much as you can, and all of that will help us out. Jonathan says, I'm going for my Class A license and nothing will stop me. Excellent. Love that determination, Jonathan. That's brilliant. I'm so glad I'm here in New York. My DMV will open on the 6th of July, just right after my birthday on the 5th of July. Excellent. Going to plan to take my combination test there, then go for my commercial driving school after. Awesome. Excellent. Loya Krishna, I'm looking for a job opportunity. Website links. Yeah, probably the best place to go, Loya, is Kijiji. And just type in Class A drivers or Class 1 drivers. And that's the best place to start looking for a position as a commercial driver here in Canada and in North America as well. Or just go into Google and type Class 1 driving positions or Class A driving positions, and you'll get heaps and heaps and heaps of positions that will come up depending on which area you are looking for. But I know here in Canada it's Kijiji, and that'll definitely help you out. Laquia, you have the link for the petition. It should be down in the description. Here, just let me have a look at that and make sure that it is in fact there. No, I'm sorry. I didn't put it in there. I will amend that. Just give me one sec here and I'll amend that for you. Bear with me, bear with me. Here it is. All right, sorry about that. My apologies. I thought I'd put that in there, but I guess I didn't. So, all right. So I put the link to the petition down in the description there. So you can click on that and head over there and sign that. Okay. Marie, Rick, you are a good guy helping all these people. Well, Marie, you know, I just I recently came across in the last month and a half with a gentleman, Evan Carmichael. He has a big YouTube channel, a couple million people, and he helps entrepreneurs. And I was supposed to go to a conference in Albany, New York, People of Video, which was about YouTube. Anyway, I was a lucky winner of a YouTube evaluation by Evan Carmichael. Evan Carmichael has just written a book saying Built to Serve. And he says, you know, if you're kind of down, you know, things are kind of chugging along at a kind of an even pace. He says, probably you're not serving enough people. And so, you know, I was really trying to help people out. And I just thought this initiative with new drivers and what's going on with COVID, you know, I kind of feel like, you know, new drivers are in their learner's phase and it has been postponed. You know, I think the government can do more to help these people out and get them a driver's license, because it's a big deal. And it's a big deal. And it's the fact that these drivers, you know, we all have had things happen to us that have impacted our lives because of the shutdowns with COVID. I mean, you know, Ontario's extended their shutdown until September. And, you know, I make an annual trip home to see my mom, and I go to the cottage there in Ontario with my kids. And, you know, I that's all been postponed. And I had 3 or 4 big trips planned in the spring that haven't happened because of COVID shutdown. So I understand the frustration with all of this. It's just, it's yucky. And so hopefully if I can help out new drivers to get them a license and get them on the road and get them going, then that's great. And you know, as a community, you know, the smart driver community is an incredible community. Just the people here that help out, make comments, and really some of the people who just have moved forward and become ambassadors of Smart Drive Test. Lightning is probably one of the bigger ambassadors here on the channel. It's just really great, because what I want this channel to be about is about empowerment. I want people to have the information to be able to affect change and make their lives better. And that's what we want to do here in the Smart Driver community. So, okay, excellent. Jonathan, also good news, Rick. I got a grant of $1,000 because I'm an independent contractor outside of driving the school bus, and my state refund will come in. I already got a full coverage for free school. That is awesome, Jonathan. And just on that point that Jonathan just made about getting your CDL license, getting your Class A or Class 1 in Canada, there is money out there. Bang on doors, do whatever you can. You should not have to fund your driver training for a commercial license, okay? You need to bang on enough doors, you need to ask enough people, you need to get funding because there's funding available. You just need to figure out where it is. It's like people who are going to post-secondary education. If you're going to go to college or you're going to go to university, there is money available. You just have to bang on enough doors and ask enough people to figure out where it is and apply for it. And congratulations, Jonathan. I'm really great that funding came through for you. And I can't say this enough for people who are going to get a truck or bus license. It's out there somewhere, okay? You just have to find it. And in this day and age of social media, just keep asking. All right, and it's going to be great. Epic, hello, my friend. And Robin is here, tuning in from the Maritimes. Congratulations to Robin. She just recently passed her driver's license, and her daughter have been just having a great time driving around in the car. So congratulations to her. Awesome. Epic, watching from Easton, Pennsylvania. From what I can see, there is a similar petition by a driver in Union County, New Jersey, who wants the state of New Jersey to do the same approach as Wisconsin, direct provisional license. And Epic, you missed a little bit earlier. I was talking about the great news that North Carolina has also done this. Governor, let me see here. I just need to go and make sure I got the right information for you on the community tab here. Okay, Cooper. I think his last name is Cooper. Governor Cooper in the state of North Carolina has done that as well and moved learner drivers into the provisional phase of their license in that state. So that's really great as well. Okay, and Epic, if you can send me that link as well, I'll hook up with that person and see if we can kind of put this together and we can kind of unite our forces instead of having them split up. So that'll be really great as well. Anwar, I just got my first speeding ticket driving 150 in a 100 zone in Ontario on a highway. How does this affect me? I'm a new driver. First thing, Anwar, is that it's going to affect your insurance because you've got to. It might not, but it most likely will affect your insurance. I would have to look that up, but in Ontario they have organizations. They're kind of like paralegals, that this is their work, and I would suggest to you that you might want to look this up because in the 1990s when I was driving, I got a speeding ticket in my passenger vehicle and it was 3 points on my license. Okay, and as a commercial driver, it's not the other things that affect your driving record, but it is the points, right? So I went to one of these organizations and I asked him, I said, listen, what can we do in this sort of thing? And it was my first speeding ticket. And he said, listen, I said, here's what I want. As I said, I don't mind paying the ticket. I don't mind paying the $150 or $200. I said, it's the points on my license that's the problem. And he said, yeah, we can definitely do that. And so what happened is that I paid him however much it was, $100 or $200. And he went to court for me and he got the points, no points, and I paid the speeding ticket, and it didn't show up on my driver's abstract as a commercial driver. So that might be something you want to look into. The reason I say that is because you're doing 115 kilometers an hour in a 100 zone. It's not that you were doing 130. You weren't. It wasn't excessive speeding, but it's low enough that they might be able to do that for you, where you simply pay the fine and you don't get any points on your license and it won't affect your insurance. Okay. The other person I wanted to congratulate was Jim. Jim sent me an email. Jim's kind of an older driver, and he was renewing his commercial license, his air brakes, his Class A license, and doing road signs. And and in the province of Ontario, you have to do this every 5 years, and you have to go in and do the written tests. And he wrote me the other day, and he was having some challenges with the wording of the testing administered by the MTO, and he sent me an email just before the live stream that he had passed that with huge success, enormous success. So congratulations to Jim as well. If he sees this on the replay or he's here lurking out in the back somewhere, as we call them. So that's really great. Robin says, thanks again. Robin, you're most welcome. Jonathan, the $1,000 grant came from the EIDL that is on the SBA website. I filled out the application and the grant came the next day in my account. That made my day. Awesome. The grant was in response for independent contractors and small business due to COVID-19. And there you go. There's money, right? And Jonathan applied for that, and he was successful in getting that money. Epic. Signed your petition for the state of California Department of Motor Vehicles. There's a similar movement for the state of New Jersey. MVC, Motor Vehicle, I'm not sure what C stands for, doing the same thing. Good tips on community posts for drivers. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Maybe Epic in the community tab, there are one of the other places you could send me a comment and send me those links, or just send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest, and I'll put those up as well for people. Okay? Jaden, I was getting my dinner for my family and saw someone having a sign, but I couldn't read what that said, but it was free kittens, so I couldn't tell what their cardboard sign said. You feel bad about free kittens? Okay, Anwar, how do you manage to live in a different places like London, Ontario, and Australia? Anwar, I grew up in Ontario, and then I married an Australian and moved to Australia. That's how I ended up in Australia. And then when I got a job at UBCO, which is the University of British Columbia, the Okanagan campus, which is the satellite campus here in British Columbia in the Okanagan Valley. And I live here now. So, but yeah, I've lived in quite a number of places around the world, and I've traveled to a number of places. And I was really looking forward to, because I had a trip planned for New York City, London, England, Las Vegas, and I was going to do videos in all of those places, driver training videos for people, and help them out, and just really try and broaden the base of Smart Drive Test and getting that out there. So what I'm going to do now, once all of this reopens and they open the border up so we can go back into the U.S. at this juncture, is I'm going to go to the 10 most populated states in the U.S. So California, Texas, North Carolina, Michigan, Florida, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Those are the 10 most populated states in the U.S. And I'm going to go to every one of the bigger cities in those states. And I'm going to do practice driving tests in each one of those states for people there. Illinois, I forgot Illinois is another one of the top 10 states in the U.S. Janet says, congratulations to Jim. They word questions tricky. Yes, they do, Janet. And I've told you the story when I went to get my driving instructor's license back here in the province of Ontario, or province of British Columbia, where I live now. I had to take the knowledge tests, air brake test. Of course, been teaching air brakes forever, and the first question, get it wrong, and ticked me off because just the way the wording was, it wasn't correct. I went on to get every question right after that because it slowed me down, made me make sure I read the question, read the answers, the possible choices, and made sure I circled all and took note of all of the keywords and make sure I just slowed down. And that's essentially what you have to do when you're taking knowledge tests. Mr. Brown is Delaware, Ohio driving test hard to pass? So you're in the state of Ohio. Again, it's going to be closed circuit test. Make sure that you do the Ohio maneuverability test. And I'll just write myself a note here, and I'll put that down in the description for you, or you can just look that up, and we'll get that up for you. Okay, you don't need to stalk me. I passed my driver's exam yesterday thanks to your videos. I just wanted to say thank you and keep up the amazing work. And thank you so much for that compliment and letting us know. That is absolutely brilliant, and I will add you to the list of successful smart drivers this week that have passed the road test. It's over on the community tab. You can find that over there as well. So that is really brilliant. Oscar, I want to do Mergery for me each of... Okay, I don't know what you're asking me. You probably have to reword that. By the way, Rick, did you see my profile picture? She just liked the same one on Facebook. I think I did. I may have to look for that again. Just remind me of that, Jaden. Jonathan, you're planning to come to New York City in the future. I hope we could meet. I would love to share with you all my experience of what I did to get my commercial license. That, Jonathan, that would be absolutely awesome if you and I could meet up in New York City. and sit down and do a video talking about your experience and getting a license there in New York State, and that would really help out other people there who are working to get a commercial license or get a driver's license there, and how you did that, and you've got a wide array of experience of driving school buses and now getting your CDL license. Yeah, no, that would be something you would definitely be on my list of people I would get in contact with there. So that's really great. Frederick, I could use some help getting a school record. It's important. Cannot register. I'm trying to get a driver's license. Can you help me, sir? Frederick, school record. When you're talking about school record, are you talking about your record from the driving school, or are you talking about a school record like a transcript? Just let me know there. Zena, I can't get an appointment for the DMV in Hayward, California to take my written test. Would you recommend I go to the DMV and see if they would take me? I did the application online and have a confirmation number. Yes, Zena, if you're having difficulty doing that, I would definitely counsel you to go down to the DMV and see what they would, if they'll let you book an appointment, because they might allow you to book an appointment. They might also have a cancellation and just be able to slip you in and let you do the test when you're there. But make sure you take a mask with you and use the sanitizer and those types of things, because they'll definitely want to do that. And also they'll ask you the screening questions for COVID-19, so do that as well. Okay, Zena? YouTube profile picture. Okay, Jaden, I'll definitely have a look at that. There we go. Jonathan, that's a great comment there. Excellent. Okay. Right. So we've done all that. So again, look down in the description there. I put the link down there for the petition. Head over there, sign the petition, leave a comment there. It's on the website change.org. Really great website for petitions. And sign the petition, leave a comment why, and share that around on your social media. Please do. We need your help. Smart drivers need your help. New drivers, we need to get them going. We need to get them a license. And excellent question before what Jonathan asked me about, are they going to stay safe? Yes, they are going to stay safe, because this is not with oversight, or not without oversight. They have oversight, okay? First of all, they have to meet all the criteria of the graduated driver's license there in their state, and there's 5 conditions of that, right? They can't have any electronic devices in the vehicle, 0 blood alcohol in their system. Most states, they can't drive between 1 a.m. and 5 p.m. At night. Okay, they can only have 1 other passenger in the vehicle, and I'll put the list down in the description as well if you want to know what those restrictions are. And there's one more that I can't remember off the top of my head for provisional licenses. And there's harsher penalties as well in the provisional stage. So if they get a speeding ticket, they're probably going to be knocked back to the learner's phase, and knowing all of that, okay? So there's harsher conditions for a provisional license, and as well, they have to meet all of the criteria. They have to have 50 or 60 hours of supervised training that they have kept a record of and submit that to the DMV. As well, they have to have a clean driving record, and if there's driver training requirements in their state, they have to have done that as well. So there is oversight. There is oversight for these drivers being moved from the learner's phase into the provisional phase of their license. We are going a step further and bringing on local driving schools to do evaluations with these drivers, okay? So it's a good move. It's going to bolster the economy and keep these young people moving, because they need to get to work, they need to get to school and recreational activities and whatnot. And as well, in this day and age, cars are safer, roads are better, and there is heaps and heaps of information out there about the dangers of driving, social awareness programs in relation to distracted driving, about drink driving if you have marijuana in your system and whatnot, because some states have legalized marijuana. Here in Canada, some of the provinces have legalized this, so this is another issue that we're now facing in terms of driving. So know that. But also, one and the same time, and I've said this again and again, the reason that drivers are going to be inebriated behind the wheel is because of prescription medication. It's not because of illegal substances, alcohol and illegal drugs. It's prescription medications you need to be concerned about. And myself personally, I'm taking medication right now for my back, when I first started taking, wow, I was like, I had no business being near a vehicle because it made me very, very loopy. So know that as well when you're taking medications. Okay, it was a good joke, Jonathan. I did appreciate that. So, Jaden, I'm not going to be here on the stream tomorrow because I'm going to learn self-defense because in case of someone getting in a road rage incident with me. The best thing, Jaden, in terms of a road rage incident is to stay in your car and lock the doors and don't engage. You don't want to go out and go fisticuffs with them. Krishna, very good message for me. All, sir, excellent. So glad we can help out, Krishna. Frederick, I think it's a primary school thing, I think. Okay, so Frederick, what you need to do is you need to apply. Generally, you need to apply for here in Canada, for example, you need to apply to the local school board and you need to apply for transcripts. In some cases, you might even be able to do that online. Okay, so that's how you do that in terms of getting transcripts with the school system that you went to. Jonathan, here's my advice for road rage. Don't interact with them. Don't look at them. Don't talk to them. If it becomes a physical, get the license plate number and description and call the police. And yes, I 100% agree with what Jonathan said there in terms of road rage incidents. You don't want to go fisticuffs with somebody because you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with. And you don't know what lengths they're going to go to. Whether they're, unfortunately, when I put the road rage information out there, one of the comments that was left here on the Smart Drive Test website was that there was a gentleman in the city of Detroit, and as many of you know, the city of Detroit, it can be violent, and he was shot by somebody. So there's no self-defense for people with weapons. And know that there's a good chance in some of the U.S. states that they will be armed and they will have a pistol or a gun. So, as Jonathan said, do not engage. It's just easier to do that. But I'm not poo-pooing self-defense. I think it's a good thing for you to have and those types of things. But there is a bit of a danger to overestimate your ability. Okay, I got a black belt in karate. I have some experience with jiu-jitsu. I have some experience with other martial arts as well. And, I would be apprehensive to go fisticuffs with somebody else. I would probably take my time, try and move away from them, put the vehicle between me and them, and try and de-escalate the situation. Because the other thing, know that if you're in a road rage incident or some other incident, people who are angry can only stay angry for a couple of minutes. They're going to, call you all kinds of names. They're going to spout off and whatnot, and then they're going to calm down. Because unless provoked or continue to, you continue to feed into that, they're just simply going to go away. So that's what I would recommend to you, even with all of the fighting experience that I have. Okay? Jonathan, also get a dash cam to back up your story if you're in a road rage incident. Yes, excellent advice, Jonathan. Robin says she agrees with what Jonathan is saying. Epic, really good point. It's being common in or around New York City freeways, example, I-95, Turnpike, and West Highway. Those are urban roadways, okay? Jonathan, I should tell you, someone tried to fake an accident on the bus yesterday. He acted like he tripped, and there are cameras on the bus. He later got up and walked away. Got my footage on my phone. Yes, excellent, Jonathan. And, unfortunately, it's a world we live in where people try to sabotage systems in place, and they try to, embezzle money or from organizations, or they try to embezzle money from, or they try to scam insurance companies and those types of things. It happens. It's a very small percentage of the population, so know that it might happen, but, it's all about protecting yourself and those types of things. And again, I'll just one little cautionary note on dash cams. Know that dash cams can be used against you as well, right? Not just for you. So if you make a mistake and the dash cam catches it, they might use that against you. So just know that dash cams can be good and they can be bad too. All right. Jonathan, one of my YouTube moments I planned on uploading later. Excellent. Okay. Jaden, okay, thanks guys. I think I'll see if I can talk to my dad about that. Excellent. Just in case, excellent. Ready, can't wait to get started on Ontario action. Lives are on hold here, which is depressing. more depressing than COVID itself, missing my many opportunities. Yeah, Reddy, I can't agree more. And I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't come for my annual trip to Ontario this year. That has been put off because, you know, all of my trips were during COVID and the shutdown, which is tough. Frederick, thanks. Feeling better already. That's awesome. Okay. So if you're watching on the replay, you're watching now, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and go over, sign our petition, and share it around on your social media platforms, whether you're on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, Reddit. If you can share it around on your social media platforms, that's really going to help us out. And I asked Epic there to send me the petition that's going on for the state of New Jersey. We'll try and join forces with them, and the more people we can get going, that's really going to help us out. You know, and get this initiative going, and hopefully we can get a lot of these people on board, and we can quiet the opposition as well, because they tried this in the state of Georgia, and they came out with a petition in opposition to this move, and the governor of Georgia had to retract the bill. But it's, you know, people who, these driving instructors who are doing this are using old information. They're using information from the 1980s. They're not using modern information. They're not looking at how informed young people are in terms of the risks of driving. They're not looking at the social media campaigns around distracted driving and driving drunk, driving when you're high. They're not looking at safer roads and safer vehicles. And they're not looking at the sheer amount of information that has been put out on channels like mine, Smart Drive Test, other channels here on YouTube, and the access to information that people have. So, and as well, there are conditions in the provisionary license stage for these new drivers that they have to meet, and they have to maintain a clean record. Otherwise, they're going to be put back to the learner's phase. And what we're proposing is there is oversight that these drivers are going to get tested by local driving schools, and they still have to have a road test to get a full license. So there are checks and balances in place to keep these young drivers safe. Okay, Jonathan, when I showed the footage of what happened on the bus to someone, he recognized the same guy who tries to jump in front of cars in oncoming traffic. I was shocked. Yeah, unfortunately, there's some of these people who do make it their life's mission to try and embezzle money and, you know, sabotage systems in place. Jonathan, that's really unfortunate. Laquia, our dash cams can be used against us. That sucks. Yes, and the other thing that sucks, Laquia, is that there is a computer on your car, and police can get a warrant if you are involved in a traffic crash and they need information to investigate the crash. They can get a warrant to plug into the box on your car and see, you know, with the speed you were traveling in immediately before the crash, whether you braked, whether you turned the steering wheel, or those types of things. So it's not just dash cams, it's also the information from the black box in your car as well that they can also use in crash reconstruction. Okay, Epic. Check the community post for the link I gave you for the New Jersey. Excellent petition for direct access from learner's permits to provisional licenses that includes the newspaper article to which it was mentioned. Awesome. Thank you so much, Epic. And if any of you have any connections with any media outlets, whether it's newspaper, television, social media access, or those types of things, I'm willing to do interviews for this as well, to get our message out and to try and move government organizations to make this happen and put this legislation in place so that we can get new drivers there on the road and get them going here. Okay? Dash cams are very helpful if anything happens and for uploading bad drivers online, like here in YouTube. Yes, Jonathan. Awesome. And as well, the other thing about dash cam footage, just on that note of what Jonathan just made, is that, you know, dash cam crashes, if you ever see a crash, for those of you watching now or watching on the replay, if you ever see a dash cam footage of a crash and you don't really know what happened or understand the sequences of events that led up to that crash, send me a link, send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com, and I'll have a look at the footage and I'll do an analysis for you. I'll do a video of it, and that crash analysis can really help you out in terms of your own defensive driving and being a smarter driver, just kind of knowing what happened, that the circumstances that came together to culminate to cause that crash. You know, I was saying the other day that there's a very kind of small percentage of crashes that are, accidents per se, but in a lot of situations, I can give you reasons why that crash occurred. Okay? How can I learn more information on this to be aware? Okay? There's all kinds of dash cam footage here and around on the website or on YouTube and other social media platforms and whatnot. So, good information here. Jaden, well, for me, and my GoPro is kind of like my own dash cam, but from my personal point of view. Excellent. Okay, brilliant. All right, so I think we're going to leave it there for today. Again, watching on the replay. Now, if you haven't signed the petition already, look down in the description, sign the petition, and send it out on your social media platforms. And we're going to move this initiative forward and get new drivers on the road to driving. All right, and if you have any questions at all, leave us a comment down in the comment section there. We'll definitely help you out, do what we can to get you going, and make you a smarter, safer driver. And congratulations to all the smart drivers in the last week or so that have passed the driver's test and are moving on. And again, look down in the description for the list of states, what their reopening is for the DMV, what your driver's test is going to look like. A lot of states are doing the closed circuit testing. Some people are saying, okay, it's closed circuit testing, it's straight line backing, 2-point reverse turn, which is backing into a parking space, 3-point turns, parallel parks, and those types of things. Don't listen to other people if they say, oh, our DMV doesn't do parallel parking. That's simply not true. They're going to do parallel parking, and be ready to do parallel parking, whether that's between cones or off another vehicle. And there's videos here on the parallel parking on the YouTube channel as well. Okay, so excellent. Laquia, excellent. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for this wonderful video. And remember, you can affect change with your government. You just need to email them. You need to ring them on the phone, leave a message, and they tabulate all of this information. So for those of you in the United States, your congressman, your senator, the governor, and the commissioner of your local DMV, send them information telling them what you request. And for those of us here in Canada, for Ontario mostly, because we're having the most trouble with Ontario getting going here again, in Ontario, it's going to be the Minister of Transportation, Premier Ford, and who else? It's going to be your local MP, okay? Federal and provincial, local MP, whoever is constituent you are in, those are the people that you need to make contact with. And don't forget the opposition members, okay? So for those of you in the States, whoever is in power in terms of the Senate, the opposition. So if the Republicans are in power, then you're going to go to the Democrats because they're going to have people that can move things forward, all right? So know that. Get in touch with these people and we can affect change. Robin, I didn't parallel park on the road test. Yes. And just on that note, Robin, it wasn't that it wasn't expected. There are a certain number of maneuvers that are up to the discretion of the individual driving instructors, or the driving examiner rather. So you didn't parallel park because the driving examiner didn't get you to do it. However, another driving examiner may get you to do it. So be prepared for parallel parking, 3-point turns, and reverse stall parking, backing into a parking space. At minimum, have those 3 maneuvers down and know that you've practiced those 3 maneuvers, because you said yes, you didn't have to parallel park. However, it's up to the discretion of the driving examiner of what maneuvers that you do. So one examiner will get you to do it, or one examiner will go out and they won't get you to parallel park on one test, and the very next test, the next person will have to parallel park because the examiner's like, oh, I forgot to do that on my last test. All right, so be ready. And as well, knowing how to parallel park is going to make you a better driver overall. It's going to improve your overall driving. All of these slow speed maneuvers. Remember, slow speed maneuvers are to driving what scales are to music, and they are to what drills are to sports. So they're really going to make you a much, much better driver. Katie, can I ask the officer what I might be tested on the driver's exam? Katie, generally when they give you their little spiel at the beginning of the test, they're going to tell you what's going to be tested of you, where you're going to go, and what you're going to do. So if it's a closed circuit test, they will explain that to you at the beginning in their little spiel. And yeah, sure, you can ask them what maneuvers they will get you to do, and they might tell you what that is. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask, right? Okay, Robin, I was prepared to parallel park. I like doing it, actually. Awesome. Excellent, 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 excellent. So be sure to sign the petition for all of you watching now or watching on the replay. thumbs up, leave us a comment, and we'll definitely be able to help you out and do what we can. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.